I'm Jack Oglesby, and I was here from the fall of 74 till the end of 82, left for 2 years, and then came back and was here for the next 20 plus. Uh, Ended up here kind of an odd deal. I had sent a letter of inquiry late in the summer, and it came back with the stamp having fallen off. And so my mother stuck a stamp on it and stuck it back in the mail. And I said, well, that was a waste of a stamp because now it's over a week late. They will have already done all their interviews. And it happened. I get a call from Mr. Mitchell, who's superintendent at the time. He said, can you be here in Hartford tomorrow morning for an interview? Okay. Then I had to go look on the map, where the hell Hartford? And so I drove over there, drove around town, finally found the district office, and sat down with Mr. Mitchell and Mr. Inwood, and we did the interview. And then I went back to work. And when I got home, my mom said, hey, they called, you need to call them back right away. I called. Mr. Mitchell said, yeah, we want to offer you the job. Would you take it? And I said, yeah, at this point, yes, I'll take your job. No, by the way, it's in Oglesby. Oh, okay. Now I got to figure out where Oglesby is. So that was that story. I started out that first year. I was the boys and girls track coach. That was it, just me. But they assured me that not a big deal. 90% of the boys played baseball. Only a handful of girls went out and ran track. No big deal. And my first day, I think I had like 35 kids show up out here. Of course, no facilities. And I was trying to figure out what am I supposed to do. So we did stretching exercises, and we ran some ladders, and we ran around the square, and went on from there. And good kids. Just didn't have a lot of track meets that first year because there hadn't been very many kids involved, so they didn't sign up for very many meets. So the next year we went out, and I sent letters to every school district I could think. Can you please invite us to your track meet? Because we really need to go someplace and give these kids a chance to run. So that's kind of how we built that up. A couple years later is when they did away with baseball. And then the number expanded. And Mike Plunkett became my assistant then for track for a couple of years before I left. When I came back, I've been the assistant volleyball coach for the last 3 years that I was here. When I came back, I was the head high school and junior high volleyball coach. That also meant that I got to be the assistant junior high football coach, which meant basically you didn't go to practice, but you went to the games, and you were in charge of keeping the seventh graders from poking each other in the eye on the sidelines while the eighth graders were out there playing. I think I helped Jesse with junior high girls basketball that year, and had junior high girls track. And then the year after that is when Coach Cowan left to go down south. When he left, he recommended that I take over as the activities director. And then I became Jesse's assistant at the high school girls basketball and junior high girls basketball. And I got out of track altogether. Did that for a number of years. And when I had two stepdaughters who were playing for Jesse, I decided that was a good time to step away and let Carolyn come in and take on that. And then I didn't have to hear about it at home, about how things were not fair. And then a few years after that, I gave up volleyball, gave up the AD spot, and just went on about my business in the classroom.
Major accomplishments, special groups that you had, that kind of stuff while you were coaching volleyball here?
Oh, gosh. We made the state 1 year as an assistant with Deb Snyder. Went out to Sterling. And that was a straight 8 bracket. We lost in the first round, I think, to Meade. But that was a pretty good group. 2 years after I came back, we made it to state in Russell. And that was a pretty good group. Kind of surprised people. We'd lost some good kids the year before. Again, straight bracket. We went clear to Russell, Kansas, get up early on a Saturday and play Williamsburg. And they were so frustrating because almost all their kids served underhanded. They didn't set spike. They just played bump ball and knocked it around and had you so out of rhythm that you were lost. And we ended up dropping that game. And then, we went on a long streak where we were very good, but just couldn't get over the hump. I think there was one spell in there. We went 6 years in a row as sub-state runner-up. 5 of those 6 years, the team that beat us that went to state finished in the top 3 at state. So it was always just so close. And then one of the last years was Coach Hines was a senior in her group. We went down to Pleasanton and we knocked off St. Mary's Colgan and made it out to state and played really well. Three matches, all of them went three games, and we didn't quite make it over the hump to get to stay an extra day and move on. So probably the most fun group would have been group with Jalinda Schmidt and Angela Murphy, Amber Hines, Dion Sturd, Gene Scott, and Crystal Langley. That was an outstanding group. We went 31-2 that year. Our 2 losses were to Emporia High in a 3-game match at Emporia. We beat Hayden. We beat Manhattan, but we lost to Emporia High in the last round. And then the finals were sub-state here at our place. We lost to Merriam, and they went on to win the state that year.
Describe your experience at OHS as far as athlete work ethic, relationships, etc.
Here, whatever you seem to ask of the kids, they were willing to take it on and do. And they didn't question you. Why are we doing this or what are we doing? They just did it and went about their business. And, there were times that I had to convince them that, it's not just because you're wearing green or a big O on your jersey that you're going to win. You're going to have to win because you outdo somebody. And there were times when we were clearly the most talented group. But God, there were times when we were clearly not the most talented group. I can remember having a hard time finding games as scheduling as AD. And I scheduled us to go play basketball at St. Mary's. And they were still between 3A and 2A at the time, a pretty good sized school. And I can remember going up there when I left here. I'd been at Silver Lake for 2 years. So we'd played them. They had been in the finals, sub-state finals for basketball 2 years in a row. We were lucky to beat them and go on to win the state. Sub-state finals in volleyball. We split with them. 1 year we went, 1 year they went. And we're standing there in the gym. The kids are getting dressed, and I'm standing there thinking, this is quite a program they have going here. And we had taken probably the least physically talented group that Jesse ever put together. Heather Crook Bailey was our starting center at 5'7". Carrie Haig was the 4. She was maybe 5'6". And then we put a bunch of 5'2" guards around the perimeter. And I'm thinking, we have no business in this gym. I know the kinds of kids they're bringing and what they're going to do. What did I do? I've hurt these kids, put them in this situation. They didn't know they were supposed to lose. And by the end of the night, we'd beat them like a drum. And I'm thinking this is whoa, what an accomplishment. And the kids are just thinking, well, it's another game. Let's get on the bus and go home.
In your opinion, what makes Olpe a special place to live, raise a family, go to school, and represent in athletics?
There's always been a sense of community here. And I used to laugh that you didn't have to call a parent if a kid misbehaved in school, because by the time they got home, all their cousins had gone home and told their moms and dads, so-and-so got caught cheating, or they got sent to the office. And so mom and dad was waiting at home because they'd heard from their siblings, okay, you embarrassed the whole family. And so what were you thinking? But you didn't have much of that. They came, they worked in classroom and athletically. I tell people, when I tell people why it worked, they all think about, you had great football teams, great basketball teams, and on and on and on. I said, yeah, but let me tell you, that's a school that at its height when I was there, it was 120 kids. But we had multiple graduates from Notre Dame, graduates from West Point, graduates from MIT, graduates from Washington University in St. Louis, which is the leading medical research university in the country, graduates from the University of Chicago. Those kids accomplish what they set their mind to. Always have.
Describe the community support at Olpe. I know you've touched on it a little bit, but anything else that you want to add as far as the community being supportive of the kids and you as a coach and the school in general?
When we were in the old gym, we'd outgrown it. You would, for almost every home game, have to get there pretty early because they would fill up all those bleacher seats and you didn't dare move for fear of losing your seat. They'd have the doors open in the hallway and they would be 3 and 4 deep in the hallway watching from there. And then the band would do pregame and the national anthem. And they would get up and take their instruments back to the band room. And the rush would be, let's get those chairs up on the stage. And you would have 30 or 40 people up there standing in the ends down there, peeking around the corner, trying to get a scene, what's going on. Yeah, always great support. We'd go on road trips in football to Onega or Centralia, and there would be carloads of people who went. Jesse's first state championship out at Hayes. The whole school, I think, ended up sleeping in the gym at Thomas More for 2 or 3 nights on the floor. Get up in the mornings, run to the locker room, shower, head out to go have breakfast someplace, and then what can you find to do in Hayes for the next 4 hours before the game starts, kind of thing. And the Coliseum was just packed. We went out there to play Jackie Stiles and the Claflin kids. Probably the biggest crowd in Kansas high school basketball history for girls. And you filled Gross Coliseum just to watch that one girls game. So, the support's been it was always great and made it worthwhile.
So I think you hit on the special moments that stand out, unless you have anything else that you want to add in that.
There was lots and lots of great successes. You had lots and lots of disappointments. You had really good teams that didn't come home with titles. Jesse probably could count them off and tell you which ones he thinks probably should have and could have. Same with me. Same with Plunkett. Coach Cowan, the same thing. He lost his first playoff game out here on a fluke penalty on an extra point. Referee threw a flag and called kids for interlocking legs, which was a penalty because one guard had his foot behind the center's leg. So they marched him back 10 yards and they missed the kick and lose the game 7-6. And don't get to go on in the playoffs and so on. So lots of those disappointments, lots of great things. What sticks with you most was the people. Still great friends with lots of those people. Lots of those people.
So the last question was, what do you believe it means to be an Opie Eagle? But I'm going to bring everybody in and we're going to do it together because I thought that'd be kind of a neat thing for all of you to kind of say what you think it means to be an Opie Eagle. Is there anything else that you want to add to your individual?
No, I just think, one of the things here that has made this successful is that there's a lot of continuity. You look at the football program and Coach Von Stein was here. Bill Cowan was his assistant. When Von Stein left, Bill took over. Plunkett was his assistant. When Bill left, Plunkett took over. Chris was his assistant. Chris taken over. So there's that continuity. You look at the volleyball. Mrs. Inwood started the program. When she retired, Deb Snyder took over, and I was her assistant. When she left, I took over. When I left, then Mrs. Seavey came in. She's been in the community for a long time. And now Crystal. Well, Crystal was Marilyn's niece and played for me. So there's that continuity. You've got 60 years almost of volleyball, 6 coaches. That's pretty good. Consistency. The kids know what's coming. They know what to expect. And they expect to do well.
Perfect. Thank you.